Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Scott, and today we're painting one of the Minotaurs from the City-States, which is the newest army for Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings. These are perhaps the coolest models in the initial lineup of City-States models, so let's go ahead and dive into how I painted it. To get this model ready for painting, I've primed it using Ultra Matte Black Paint Plus Primer from Rust-Oleum, but you could use whatever black primer you choose. We're going to start this project off by taking Rhinox Hide, and we're going to use this as the base color for all of the skin on the model. We're also going to base all of the fur or hair on the model using Baneblade Brown. We're going to shade both the skin and the hair of the model using Agrax Earthshade, and you can go as heavy as you'd like with this. It won't affect the outcome too much in this case. Once we've allowed that shade to dry, we're going to take a mixture of Rhinox Hide and Mournfang Brown, and we're going to begin layering the muscles on the model. Now, we're going to be doing horizontal lines that go across the muscle, leaving gaps in some spots to give the model a furry appearance. Next, we're going to take Mournfang Brown by itself, and we're going to do the same thing, but we are doing less lines this time, because we're trying to give the appearance of hair on the skin of the model. Now we're going to take Zandri Dust, and we're going to dry brush this on the hair on the top of the model. Now if you wanted to be an overachiever, you could take a very fine point brush and add a few odd hairs across the skin of the model in this color as well. I chose not to do that, just for sake of time and my own sanity. With the skin all done, it's time to work on the armor, and we're going to begin by basing all of the flat armor panels on the model using Balthasar Gold. We're going to shade all of the armor using Contrast Guilliman Flesh. We are doing a light coat here because we don't want this to darken down the armor too much. You could also choose to use something like Seraphim Sepia or Reikland Flesh Shade. Once we've allowed that shade to dry, we're going to take a mixture of 2 parts copper from Pro Acryl and 1 part Gahenna's Gold from Citadel, and we're going to layer this over the flat surfaces of the armor to bring back that glossy effect and kind of highlight the spots where the light should reflect the most. After we've finished with all of the brass armor, we're going to take Leadbelcher, and we're going to paint all of the scale mail that's around the waist of the model, as well as any other metallic trim or details on the model. We're going to shade all of the iron parts of the model using Contrast Basilicanum Gray. And you don't want to go too heavy here because we're not trying to turn this black. Once that shade is dried, we're going to take Ironbreaker, and we're going to use this to layer over all of the raised surfaces of the metal. Now if you want, you can leave the shade in spots where it pooled, you can leave that darker, and it'll give the appearance of tarnished metal. Next, we're going to begin working on the clothing on the model, and we're going to take a mixture of 2 parts Kabalite Green, 1 part Stegadon Scale Green, and use this as the base color for all the clothing and fabric that appears across the model. We're going to shade all of the fabric on the model using Coelia Greenshade. You don't want to go too heavy on this. This is one of those shade paints where if it pulls up in one spot too much, it gives the paint a sort of clouded finish, and we don't want that. Once that shade is dried, we're going to layer over all of the raised ridges and creases in the fabric using Kabalite Green. Our next step is to take Sybarite Green, and we're doing a fine edge highlight on all of the most raised ridges of the fabric, and anywhere that we think we either need to highlight or that we think maybe the light would catch more. We're ready to start working on some of the details of the model, and we're going to start by taking Leather Brown from Vallejo, and we're going to use this to paint all of the leather tassets, belts, and trim on the model. We're also going to grab the wooden handle of the hammer. We're going to shade all of the leather on the model using Contrast Aggaros Dunes. Now when you do this, be sure to not throw this color on the wooden parts of the model. We're going to do something different for them. We're going to take Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to use this for the wood. I've also put this on the horns, which I painted in the leather color earlier on, and I just failed to mention it. Once all of our shades have dried, we're going to highlight the edges of all the leather work using a mixture of 1 part leather brown and 1 part Zandri Dust. We're also going to use this for highlighting the wood on the handle of the hammer. Now we're going to take Zandri Dust, and this is going to be the first highlight color we put on the horns. We're being very intentional with this highlighting. We're starting at the base of the horns and moving up towards the tip of the horns, leaving the tip with the original brown color showing. Our second layer of highlighting is going to be done using Ushabti Bone, and this technique is similar to dry brushing, although we are leaving a little bit more paint in the brush than you would normally do for a dry brush. We're starting at the base of the horn and dragging the brush towards the tip, reducing the pressure we apply to the brush the closer we get to the tip of the horn. To tie the different colors on the horn together, we're going to take Seraphim Sepia, and we're going to do a very thin coat of this. In fact, you might even water it down a little bit on the model, and this just helps to blend the 3 different colors on the horn together. Our next step is to take Skevenblight Dinge, and we're going to use this as the base color for the hooves, fingernails, and the nose of this Minotaur. We'll shade all of the gray parts of the model using contrast Basilicanum gray. Once that shade is dried, we're going to use Mechanicus Standard Gray as our highlight color. Now when you're doing the hooves, you want to do horizontal lines because the model already has horizontal rivets sculpted into the texture of the hooves. Our final detail in this project is the eyes of the model, and we're doing this by taking the white of your choice and just painting in the general recess where the eye is supposed to be, and then taking black and putting a large black dot in the center of the eye. And with that, we've finished painting our Minotaur. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, go ahead and like it, and then subscribe to my channel so you can see future videos I make. I'd like to give a special shout out to my channel members that make videos like this possible. If you would like to become a channel member, hit the join button below this video. As always, have an amazing day, and we'll catch you in the next one.